Today I'm going to be talking about some of the current events that are affecting Italy or the Italian Republic. I'm going to be talking about three in particular, and the first one that I'm going to talk about is there's an instance in Italy where the highest court has been accused of victim blaming in a rape case. And basically what had happened, I'll explain a little bit more in the next slide about the actual case, but the court decided that aggravated circumstances cannot be applied to a rape sentence if the victim voluntarily drank alcohol before the attack. And this is causing a lot of uproar because, any victim of sexual abuse is already going to be a little skeptical about coming forward because of, being judged and guilt and, just a lot of confusion over what was done to them. And, if alcohol was ever a factor, they would be even less likely to come forward, and then justice would never be fully served. The case actually dates back to 2009, and there were two men that were accused of sexually abusing a woman one night. They were acquitted of any rape charges in 2011 because the court declared that the victim's story was unreliable. And then in 2017, the men were found guilty when some new information from medical records came through the court. And then they were given a 3-year sentence before a retrial was ordered to revise the sentence because alcohol was involved in the attack. And a lot of, not only in Italy, but all around the world today, in line of, things like the Me Too movement, people are really coming together to help tell the stories of sexual abuse survivors and victims. And in one instance, the former Italian Prime Minister, he was actually forced out of power after being found guilty of having dealings with underage women and prostitutes. And now he's trying to come back into power in the country. And really, to me, that just goes back to how men, more often than not, men are the ones that are in power. Italy has never had a female prime minister and never had a female leader. And, throughout history, it's always been such a male-led society. And men have always been in power, and women have always felt kind of undervalued and, like they don't matter as much. So now, sexual abuse victims, the majority of the time, are usually women. Not in all cases, but now they're going to feel like they're looked down upon because what if something happens to them and they're like, oh, what if this isn't considered rape in someone else's eyes, but it is in mine? So that just kind of impacts, the social stability of Italy and how things have always been run and just tradition and patterns that certain situations follow. The second current event that I'm going to be talking about is division over the number of migrants in Italy. And people have been migrating into Italy for a long time, but now in particular, since 2014, there's been almost 500,000 immigrants that have come into Italy, and there's been a new mayor that is changing the way that immigration is viewed and is handled. Italy, in the small town of Pistoia, for the most part, have always been a very welcoming and a very giving and caring town. But now that this new mayor has come into power, things are starting to change. And a lot of it goes back to the rise of the Populist Party, and they're wanting, kind of a total reform of how the government is run and how certain topics are viewed. And because of the Populist Party, Italians are beginning to feel like immigrants are more of a burden than anything, especially when it comes to finances. They feel like they're having to support the immigrants because they don't bring a lot to the table. And if these people don't welcome the immigrants. The places that the immigrants can go and feel safe and secure and comfortable are getting lesser and lesser with each passing year, really. People are becoming a little more skeptical about letting immigrants into their country just because of, safety and just different things like that, So Italy is becoming another place that it's not being as tolerant of immigration as it used to be. And the last current event that I'm going to talk about is how Italians are becoming increasingly anti-vaccine. And the instance that I'm going to be talking about is an Italian athlete chose to vaccinate his daughter, and he posted about it on social media and faced a ton of backlash. People, like I talked about in the previous slide, the Populist Party coming to power is really having a lot of an effect over everybody in Europe and how they think and how they feel and their views on certain issues. And the Populist Party, like I had put in the last slide, they're all about really what benefits the citizens the most and what benefits the common folk and the ordinary citizens. They're not about, all the bells and whistles that come with government leaders and having, kind of a head person, to take care of everything and make everything look nice and like everything's going great. They just want to make sure that the ordinary people are taken care of. And a lot of the times, some of their ideas might not be as conventional as it would be in any other political party. And one of their views is that they are anti-vaccine. They don't really think it's safe. They think that it causes a lot more problems than it prevents. And they are not for vaccinations at all. And this is just kind of further reiterates what I was talking about, how the Populist Party is really got a hold on a lot of people in Italy and in the way they they think of immigration and the way they think of vaccination, like I'm talking about now, and that's about it, and that kind of wraps up this presentation. Everything on this slide kind of pulls together with a little bit of the things that have been in other slides as far as populism goes, and just how a lot of the times people think that vaccines don't really help much of anything, but they do cause a lot more problems than they help. Alright, thank you for watching this presentation.